Hi everyone! This is the second video to my series where I will be exploring the future of fashion. If you want to catch up on part 1, I'll have it linked below. In today's video, I'll be looking into the pros and cons of virtual reality specifically for e-commerce brands and sites. Before I get started, I want to run through the differences between virtual reality and augmented reality. First of all, virtual reality, also known as VR. Virtual reality is a completely virtual environment that is generated by a computer. Users can move around in a digital environment and hear sounds whilst wearing the special VR headset. Then there's augmented reality, also known as AR. In augmented reality, users see and interact with the real world whilst digital content is added to it. The best example of this is Pokemon Go. Imagine everyone running around in the real world collecting virtual creatures only their smartphone devices can see. So what's the difference between the two? As Joe Barty states, you could think of augmented reality as VR with one foot in the real world. Augmented reality simulates artificial objects in the real environment, and virtual reality creates an artificial environment to inhabit. Now that those two key terms have been defined, I'll be diving right into the pros and cons of virtual reality for e-commerce. For those of you who don't know, e-commerce is simply the buying and selling of goods over the internet. There are many pros and cons that come with this technology being used online. In terms of pros, virtual reality will allow for people to try new products on before buying from the comfort of their own home. This could also be very beneficial in terms of returns for stores, as customers would have the opportunity to see the products from all angles. More than a third of consumers say they would shop more online if they were able to try on a product virtually. Another advantage VR offers are competitive advantages. Compared to marketing a physical store, virtual showrooms are technically hidden and go unseen from competitors. They are unable to see what you are doing. In addition to this, virtual reality can help e-commerce marketers prepare a product for market before actually creating the product, which would then allow them to gather feedback on their products. Not only does this create a competitive advantage, but also saves the brand the cost of production. VR can also allow for highly personalized experiences for its consumers. They will no longer have to go through the whole shop to find what they are after, but rather have everything they need shown to them, increasing the speed of their shopping process and ideally resulting in a satisfied customer. Now for the cons of VR in e-commerce. Virtual reality is actually quite expensive, so it's said that implementing it on a broader scale will be rather difficult for e-commerce. There is also the question of why VR headsets would be useful to have in-store for customers when they could simply just go to the change room since they are already there. Another important point to note is the effect VR could have on users' health. There are already claims that people find the technology to make them dizzy and uneasy. So we need to look into whether this is actually hindering our health. Another serious consequence of VR is addiction. Just like any other technology, if you spend too long on it, there is the potential to form an addiction. This also rolls into the risk that it could make going out in the future unnecessary, as everything people may need can be done from home, which in turn could lead to social isolation. I could go on forever about the pros and cons and all the possibilities virtual reality could have on the fashion industry. However, I'll wrap it up here so this video doesn't go on for hours. I hope this video gives you a taste into both the good and the bad of virtual reality and the impacts it will not only have on e-commerce, but on its consumers too. So that concludes this video. Stay tuned for the third and final part of my series.